Whatever he says.
There we go. Hi, I'm Freddie. I have a company in the US we're called Rocket Jump. We've done a lot of short, we started in 2010, which is ages ago at this point, doing short sort of visual effects, comedy, sort of action movies, and we're doing longer form stuff now. So yeah, that's me.
Hello, my name's Bertie, and I have done a number of short films, a number of sad short films over the past few years. That's pretty much it.
Hi, my name is Titta. I have a YouTube channel called Titta, or youtube.com/Titta Productions. I make mostly sketches and stories. I wouldn't really call myself a filmmaker, but here I am.
I consider you a filmmaker.
Go into Premiere. I guess this is what the final edit looks like, just to give you a sense of what the timeline will end up being. So I'm going to kind of create it from scratch here.
I'm sure the magnets in MRI machines or particle accelerators are powerful, but the strongest magnetic fields are actually scattered throughout the rest of the universe.
So at this point, I'm not like
3.7.
I'm cutting it pretty roughly.
They come from a type of star.
Just trying to cut out each piece of footage that I actually want.
Are called a magnetar, and they're so strong that getting within 1,000 kilometers of one would tear apart your atoms. Is that creepy that I'm excited about that? I think it's so cool. Extremely strong magnetic field. That was my shoe sound. I saw you go. If I heard that, I totally just keep going. So I don't like it be like, did you hear me talking? So I'm doing it. Okay. They're so strong that getting within 1,000 kilometers of one would tear apart your atoms. But a magnetar that we'll just call SGR-0418 for short is special. It currently holds the title of the strongest magnetic field in the known universe. A magnetar is a special kind of neutron star with an extremely strong magnetic field.
Find out more in the next video.
Videos and healthy type things, so yeah.
I'm Sam from the channel Super Sam Stuff. I'm a vlogger. I also study and make films, which usually finds its way onto my channel as well.
My name is Freddie. Co-founded our company is called Rocket Jump. We make short films, VFX kind of stuff, and also shows.
I'm Swoozy. I'm kidding, guys. I'm really not narcissistic like that. No, I just talk about my life. I talk about relationships. I put out gossipy stuff about myself. No, I think it's attitude, and I think the attitude behind it has been great. So I think by doing things like this, you are raising awareness. Like the same thing with Oscars So White. I think not that the people behind the Oscars were racist, but in their own little world, it's like, okay, this is what we're doing. Oh, crap, we don't have a lot of black people here or ever. And the same thing with movies. It's kind of like, oh, we haven't nominated a lot of black films, kind of thing.
Really of any racial minority.
Right.
At all, yeah.
And when you look around the real world, I think for the most part, we don't ever realize how diverse our real world is, whether you go into a classroom or you go into a workplace. Most cases, especially in LA or place like New York, there's a ton of diverse people. And even for me, like when I actually started writing for projects outside of YouTube, I realized, like it was my agent that pointed it out to me. She's black, and she'd be like, okay, you have a cast full of white people. And I'm like, I do? I never really thought about that.
Foremost, I think anytime you try and like put on airs to do something else, that's putting you as an artist kind of in risky territory because you're not sort of speaking to your heart. And you know, and I think that it's always funny because it's like, you know, it's like, oh, do you make sort of Asian American specific films? It's like, I don't think any white director ever got that question. Like, I don't think, I mean, like, they'll never go to the interview, like, tell me about your white specific film. Like, it would be insane to come around and turn around on that, you know? So it's a little bit of a balance because it's always there, and there's the acknowledgement that you as a creator have that in terms of your upbringing, in terms of your background, in terms of the point of view that you're bringing to things. But at the same time, I think that you owe it to yourself as an artist to say, this is what I'm interested in, and if I am interested, in my case, of, you know, making dumb action movies and stuff like that, you know, I think that it feels like a bit of a step back to be like, no, you can't be making what you think is interesting. You got to address this larger thing. It's like, well, let me address this larger thing by assuming that I'm just normalized. I'm gonna go ahead, when I approach my work, I'm just gonna assume that I have the right to do whatever I want, just like anybody else, just like any other filmmaker. And I think that in the end, then you kind of have to let your work speak for itself. And then again, this is kind of very specific to, in terms of filmmaking, when it's like what you're putting out there is sort of the proxy for you. We're in this sort of very weird new world where the sort of web celebrity that we have, it's people can put themselves out there as the product of entertainment to be consumed and followed and obsessed over, as opposed to like the story or the movie. And that's totally new ground, and that's, I think, very interesting. And that's something that in the end, when YouTube first came out, everybody was like, oh, this is YouTube, so where the next Steven Spielberg comes from. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think it very quickly changed to, no, it's going to be where the next, I don't know what you call it, but the next new form of celebrity, individual, or something. Yeah, right? Like, exactly.
Why do you think that is, though, Freddie? Like,
What's that?
Honestly, when I first saw YouTube becoming what it was, you look at directors that were raised in the 80s or the 70s, they were making great films, like Christopher Nolan, those guys making great films. We have YouTubers, or people exposed to YouTube all the time, who you think would be, okay, they're getting exposed to so much good stories and good content, they have all this stuff at their disposal. Why are we having creators?
I think it got, to be totally frank, I think it got cut off at the legs. I think with the introduction of money and the introduction of the idea that you're gonna get, the fact is this, right? When you get a like on your Instagram, pic, that feels good.
It's validation.
It's validation. It's the same neural pathways of drug addiction. It's the same neural pathways of yes, finally, and you feel bad when you don't get as many likes as, your other ones. Why are you feeling bad over that? But you do, you can't help it, we're human, right? I think that there's a couple of things that really hurt that sort of development and push things in a different direction. One of which is the introduction of money. The idea that, I think when I started, the partner program had just started up. And at that point, there were no stories of YouTube millionaires, there were no stories of kids making enough money, more than their parents, or buying a car in high school, or stuff like that. It's completely absurd, completely unheard of, And I talk to my friends who are high school teachers and middle school teachers now, and they say, yeah, they have kids in their classes who, they want to be Instagram famous, they want to be Snapchat famous, and that's it. So there was an easy path to just validation and fame, et cetera, that you could get, and that was attainable, and that feels like such an, I think that's part of the reason why it kind of nudged in that direction. But at the same time, it let a lot of these different voices that you wouldn't have otherwise seen show up. So I don't look at that as a good or a bad thing. I just think that that's no, that's sort of the way you say it. Yeah, it's sort of the environment engendered.
Follow me on Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. Very important, please. But no, it's a big question. It's when personality becomes a product.
Everybody wave! That's great! Okay, the second picture, everybody goes crazy! Girls, thank you!
Good mythical question number one from you, ma'am.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
Where do we see ourselves in the future? Be more specific, because we know exactly.
Will you stay a duo forever, or do something on your own?
Will you stay a duo forever? And right when YouTube began to exist, in 2006, Apple also launched video podcasts on iTunes. You guys may not realize that it happened basically at the same time. And we knew what Apple was, and we thought, well, that's the more legitimate thing. And they're doing video podcasts, which is a video version of podcasting, which is like a radio show. So that means we need to do something that fits more like a radio show. So what we did was we took music videos we'd already made, even the Facebook song music video, which went viral. Actually, after that, we contextualized it with us sitting in front of one microphone talking. That was the first thing that videos we actually created as internet videos. They were video podcasts. And then we realized that we didn't have to contextualize everything in that way. And we took things like the Facebook song music video, and other ones too, and we released them as their own videos on YouTube, and they did a whole lot better. But I think we really liked the camaraderie and the live nature of doing those video podcasts. So we did it in a lot of different iterations. We did it as a live show on Ustream for almost 2 years in 2007 and 2008.
But when we started it as Good Morning Chia Lincoln,
right, which was after that,
we didn't do it because we thought it would be a hit on YouTube. Like the approach was very much, let's do something for the people who really care and want more than just the thing that we're creating, but want to see us talk to each other. And then we were both thinking, like, this isn't going to be anything. Like, and it's not supposed to. It's just supposed to be this place that people can connect. And if you consider yourself like a super fan, you'll want to watch us talking for 10 minutes a day. But then people wanted it. When we stopped Good Morning Chia Lincoln, people wanted more. They wanted more. And so when we came with you can watch the first episode of Good Mythical Morning. You can we talk about it not like, this is just something we're trying, but we actually say in that first episode, we hope you'll make this a part of your daily routine, because at that point, even though we had a lot of things to work out on the show to get it to where we wanted it to be, we had a sense that, okay, I think the audience is ready for this kind of thing. They're ready for a show where two guys talk to each other.
Awesome, thank you.